Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Miss Nictophilic or Sophie Ara, and today I am going to be filming a video about some lessons I've learned on my first solo trip. First solo flight. Welcome back to those who are keeping up with my content, and if you are new here, hi, my name is Sophie Ara, and you guys can all follow me in my social medias right here. For those who aren't aware, or for those who haven't watched my first ever video or my vlog, then this is connecting to that video because that one was a vlog of me on my first ever solo flight, and this video is going to be about the lessons I've learned from my first ever solo flight. So if you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button down there, and also subscribe if you want to see more of my content, and also hit that notification bell so you can get notified every time I post a video. So my channel is basically gonna be about mostly deep talk, advice, lifestyle, self-care, yeah, pretty much that. So if you're interested and if you're willing to see or willing to further watch my content, then subscribe. Now let's get into the video. So these are 5 lessons I've learned on my first solo flight. Number 1, don't underestimate the power of having time allowance. And what I mean by that is by having extra time allowance. Don't slack on it, don't be too chill with it, because you never know when being generous with your time allowance is going to serve you. So don't be too chill when it comes to time allowance. For example, you have your flight and your place of origin is near the airport. Don't be too slacking, or don't slack too much on the time you would take to get to the airport and to process everything. Like, for example, if you are just 30 minutes away from the airport, don't go to the airport an hour before. Even though things at the airport are very fast, no. Be more generous with your time allowance, because you don't know what may come to eat up your time. And this is something I actually learned from the trip. I went there for a wedding, for one of my aunts' wedding, and another of my aunts told me that in the Davao airport we don't really need to prepare so much before the flight because things move smoothly there, or it moves faster because there's a lot less people. And it's true compared to Manila. Not like in Manila, they said that you have to go to the airport 2 hours before, but here you can arrive a lot more earlier. Well, what they said is true. In the Davao airport, there were a lot less people compared to Manila, because Manila is more central. It has a lot more foreigners, or a lot more international flights, and it's more central in the Philippines. But something I experienced on my first solo flight going back home from Davao to Manila, I actually had a lot of problems, and there were things that really did eat up my time. It was traffic going on the way there. I had excess baggage, so I also had to pay for that as well. There was a bunch of stuff that ate my time. There was this lady I had to go through. She asked for things like a handwritten letter from my dad that I am allowed to fly alone with his signature, a valid ID, my birth certificate. So I had to go and buy load because I didn't have load. And then I had to contact him and work through all of these requirements that the lady was asking for. I didn't have to go through paperwork about being a minor or anything, approve or what. And I wasn't required to submit any type of file for myself. They didn't demand any kind of letter from me, because mostly because my dad was there when I was checking in my baggage. Honestly, I was a little bit just freaked. And then when I went to the, what do you call that? The place where you just hang around while you wait for your flight, that place, there was actually a lot of time left, but lesson learned. If I had been too chill with the extra time I gave myself, or if I had arrived a lot later for my flight, then I would have missed it. For those who are slacking on time, take it from me, don't do that. It's better to be safe than to be sorry. It's much better to plan ahead than to be procrastinating and be freaking out. Once the time comes, then you have this compressed amount of time that you have before your flight, and you're stressing out with all other things that you didn't see coming your way. Number 2, don't overpack because you will always end up bringing something home. When I went to Davao, I brought almost all of my makeup, and it turns out that I didn't end up using it that much. I brought so much makeup that it had to be placed in its own drawstring bag. I had my very own drawstring bag for all of my makeup. And upon going to Davao, my luggage was so jam-packed with clothes, so jam-packed that with my underwear, I took sabupa. You're basically only allowed to have one hand carry. One of the policies there, you could have a bonus hand carry if it contained a laptop, or if it was a laptop bag. With my backpack, that was where my laptop was, and then that was where all of my underwear was. Coming back, that's how much stuff I brought going home to Davao. Going back home to Manila, I had a bunch load more of stuff, to the point where I had excess baggage. There were goodies, there were gifts that my family there gave me and my family here. So there was a bunch load more of stuff. Make sure that you leave some space in your luggages, space in your bags, in case if you're gonna buy something or you're going to bring something home. Number 3, always have pocket money. If you are on a limited budget, guys, don't overspend. Make sure to leave a generous amount of money left in case for emergency situations, because this is something I have also experienced going back home to Manila. My pocket money was a little bit higher than 2,000, but 2,000 was what I had. Going back home, I only had 400 left. So my aunt gave me a little bit of money before the flight for my snack at the airport. I didn't end up eating anything at the airport. I didn't end up spending the money that she gave me for snacks, but for excess baggage. If she didn't give me that money, I would have had to contact one of my parents, and my parents do not know that I actually had excess baggage. I never told them that I had to pay for an extra bag. This is why we have a bit or a large amount of money for emergencies in case that something is going to happen. I didn't want to get scolded, and I'm grateful that she gave me some money so I didn't have to go through a lecture or a sermon from my parents. You packed too much things. Even if someone else is going to be covering for you, they're going to be covering your place to stay, they're going to be covering your food, they're going to be covering everything else in your trip or for your trip. Don't spend almost all of your pocket money. And that leads to the 4th lesson that I've learned, which is be careful about overspending and be aware of your budget. Now, I kind of mentioned this in the previous point, but basically also don't be a reckless spender. There are a lot of things that we buy and we don't end up really needing it or using it afterwards. Buying or shopping is a temptation, and I really should listen to my advice more often. I mean, in real life, I can control myself to be a better spender and to be better with money. I can also choose to be more of like an impulsive buyer, or a buyer who focuses on the short term and what if I need this type of mindset. So lately I have been choosing the latter, so yeah. And lastly, number 5, make good use of your stay in a place by trying out the best sellers, by trying out the famous food there, the local food there, the best places there. Make the best out of it. I mean, make the best out of it, because you'll never know when's the next time we're gonna go there. There were a lot of more specialty places in Davao that I didn't try, and the last time I went to Davao was in 2018. That was 4 years ago. I didn't try Davao dishes, so I wish I could have made more proper use of my trip there. I didn't think about trying dishes local to Davao, so I wish I could have made more proper use of my time that I spent there, most especially that I spent there for 10 days. I really think that my relatives made the most out of my stay, but it was also understandable that, you know, I could have done a lot more because I had online classes at the time. I went there April and I had online classes still going on, and my other cousins had their own online classes, so we weren't also completely flexible with our schedules. And that's all for this video, so I hope you liked my video and I hope that you gained something from it. And if you want to see more, you could subscribe to my channel and you could hit that notification bell to see more of my content. Bye guys!